What if the biggest 800-meter showdown of the European Championships almost disappeared before the final even began? Audrey Werro entered the Birmingham semifinals as one of the biggest threats to Keely Hodgkinson. But with roughly 120 meters left, everything suddenly went wrong. Werro was leading when she crashed to the track, and for a moment it looked like her championship was over. Then, less than an hour later, another favorite sent a completely different message. Keely Hodgkinson won her semifinal in 1 minute 57 seconds and 38 milliseconds, with Femke Bol right behind her in 1 minute 57 seconds and 46 milliseconds. So now the three biggest names are still heading toward the final, but they arrived there with three very different stories. Audrey Werro's semifinal was the moment that changed everything. The Swiss star had been one of the athletes everyone was watching in Birmingham. Earlier this season, she had already beaten Hodgkinson in Stockholm, and in June she produced a stunning 1 minute 53 seconds and 80 milliseconds in Paris, the third fastest women's 800 meters ever recorded. That meant Werro wasn't coming into this championship simply hoping for a medal. She had legitimate reason to believe she could challenge the Olympic champion for gold. And in her semifinal, Werro looked completely in control. She moved toward the front and was leading as the runners entered the closing stages. But then, with around 120 to 150 meters remaining, disaster struck. Contact occurred between Werro and France's Anne Bourgoin. Werro's right foot was clipped by Bourgoin's hand, disrupting her stride and sending her crashing onto the track. The incident also caused Lithuania's Keely Hodgkinson to fall. For Werro, there was no time to think. She got back up. She continued running, but the race was already gone. Werro eventually crossed the line last into minutes 35 seconds and 35 milliseconds, visibly shaken and clutching her chest. Gemma Ricci won the semifinal in 1 minute 58 seconds and 61 milliseconds, followed by Bourgoin in 1 minute 58 seconds and 84 milliseconds, and Werro's Swiss teammate Veronika van Cardo in 1 minute 59 seconds and 14 milliseconds. At that moment, it looked like one of the favorites for European gold had been eliminated. And that's when the story took another turn. Werro and the Swiss team appealed the result. Officials reviewed the video evidence from the incident, and the replay showed that contact had occurred before Werro fell. After the review, Werro was reinstated into the final. Hodgkinson was also reinstated after being affected by the chain reaction. Suddenly, the dream final was alive again. Keely Hodgkinson versus Audrey Werro. And then there was Femke Bol. While the first semifinal was filled with chaos, the second semifinal was almost the complete opposite. Hodgkinson stepped onto the track knowing exactly what was at stake. She is the Olympic champion, one of the biggest names in the event, and she is chasing another major European title in front of a home crowd. There was no drama this time, no fall, no desperate qualification. Hodgkinson simply took control. She won the semifinal in 1 minute 57 seconds and 38 milliseconds, producing the fastest time of the two semifinals. But behind her was another athlete who has completely changed the conversation around this race, Femke Bol. The Dutch star is better known as a world champion in the 400-meter hurdles, but this season she has been testing herself over 800 meters. And that makes her incredibly dangerous. She finished just behind Hodgkinson in 1 minute 57 seconds and 46 milliseconds. Only 800ths separated them. That performance showed that Bol isn't simply entering the final as an interesting outsider. She has the speed to stay with Hodgkinson, and her 400-meter background gives her a weapon that traditional 800-meter runners don't always have. So now look at what this final has become. Hodgkinson enters after a clean, controlled semifinal. Bol enters after staying extremely close to the Olympic champion. And Werro enters after surviving one of the most dramatic moments of the championships. But there's another layer to this. Werro may have made the final, but nobody knows exactly how much that fall will cost her. She said afterward that she had only a few scrapes and that the fall knocked the wind out of her. That matters because the 800 meters leaves no room for weakness. This isn't a race where you can simply recover for another round. The final is the final. 2 laps, 1 opportunity. And every athlete will be asking the same question. How much does Werro have left after that crash? Because before the semifinal, Werro had every reason to believe she could win. She had already beaten Hodgkinson this season. She had run 1 minute 53 seconds and 80 milliseconds. She had established herself as one of the fastest women ever over the distance.